Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. Wait, hold on. Guys, damn it. Guys. Hello. Hold on. Yes, I'm live. Hello. Anybody can hear me? Let me see. Let's see how it sounds. Gotta find out here. Hold on. What's up? Hey, you can see me. If you're there, talk to me. Need to know. I can see 4 people on right now. If you get a chance, share this. Share this on your social media. Even though people can, yeah, Philip Anthony, Tuddle with 2 Ds. Somebody's texting me right now. It says, what's up, Tuddle? I'll have to text you back in a few. Please share this on your social media. Miss you too, Philip Anthony. I miss being on the radio. What's up, Buzzer Bob? Yes, share this on your social media. And while I get it, before I get into my live stream, people can check out this. I want as many people here to be live, but when this live stream is done, it is back on, fuck. Yeah, I'm live. But yeah, so while I'm at it, before I get on the live stream, what's up, Free Sample 234? Check out my podcast, guys. My podcast is what I'm doing right now. I'm building it, and if you've checked it out, I'm really appreciative of you supporting the podcast. If you can do me a favor, please tell as many people as you can, because I'm not on the radio anymore. I'm not on the radio, so I don't have a way of promoting my content. So it's all word of mouth. I'm gaining about 5 new listeners or subscribers a day. But what I'm wanting to do with this podcast is I want the podcast to be something to have as a backup plan. You know, radio is still where it's at. Terrestrial radio is still where it's at. But this podcast, it's really been great. Help spread the word. Just search The Tuddle Podcast. It's available on TuneIn Radio. I know all you guys that are Bubba Army have checked it out and used TuneIn. So you can catch The Tuddle Podcast. It's available. Thank you, Buzzer Bob. I appreciate it. The Tuddle Podcast is now available on TuneIn Radio app. It's available on all smartphones, Android, iPhones, all those. You can find it. It's a very simple app. I'm also can be found on Spotify, iTunes Radio, and iHeartRadio. All of those. It's very simple. But if you don't want to use any of those apps, you can go directly to the hosting website, which is tuddle.podomatic.com. I'm going to switch over here because the front-facing camera is so horrible on the iPhone. And I'm trying to set it up so I can talk to you guys with the good side. And I got another phone here so I can monitor. I don't even know if you guys can see. Yep, I think that works. I don't even know. I need to open this up so you can see what's going on. Just bear with me, guys. Oh, yeah, you can see me. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it a little bit better. See what's there. Let me turn this down. So now I'm monitoring everything over here. So what's up, Aaron F? So guys, yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, you can ask me right now. I'm here. I just want to talk with you guys. I miss you guys. You know, I'm doing this daily podcast, and it's really helped me out a lot doing this daily podcast, guys, because I know this is going to sound weird, but it's actually helped me. Hold on, I need to point the camera up just a little bit more so you guys can see me. It's not good to shoot from below. I always learn that. It's one of the biggest things I learned when I was married. I took a lot of pictures for my wife, Kristen, and she hated it. If you shot anywhere below, you always want to be up because it makes people look skinnier. And my wife was not a fat person. She was fucking in shape, hottest woman I had ever been with. But back to my podcast. It's my new passion right now. I've been out of radio a lot at some point in my career, and everybody's like, I've been fired at a whole bunch of different places. That's bullshit. Fucking ask Bubba. If you are a fan of Bubba, just ask him. Ask him how many places he's been. He's been at a lot of different radio stations, and I had a good run. I had a really good run there for a while. I worked 2 years with Ron and Fez over in Daytona, and then I moved to Orlando to work with Russ Rollins and the Monsters, and I had a good 10-year run there. And then I spent the last 10 years of my life in Tampa. And that was fun. It was a great experience. I made some great connections, bigger market. Wish I would have had a little bit more luck and longevity with people. John Hannon, have any plans to work a regular 9-to-5 job or continue entertaining? I have no problem working a 9-to-5 job. My dad, I grew up, my dad had his own business. He was an iron worker. And when I first started out in radio for about 4 or 5 years, when I was only part-time, I would get up at 3:30 every morning to be at the radio show by 4:15. Show started at 6, and then I would work until 12 o'clock. Excuse me. I would work till 12, and then I would go to lunch from 12 to 1, and then I would work from 1 until about 6 or 7 on some days welding. I would weld angle iron, I would weld decking, I would lay decking. I did all of it. It was crazy. Some of the best shape I've ever been in my life, and I fucking worked my dick in the dirt. And I have no problem working a 9-to-5 job. I really, really don't. But the way I look at it, and a lot of people have told me, hey, maybe this radio thing's not for you. And you know, a lot of people say you shouldn't look into the past. You should always look forward. And yeah, that is correct. In theory, it is correct. But what has all the work in my past been for me to just give up, okay? I'm doing fine right now. I'm not going to go into details about what my financials are when it comes to this podcast. Right now, I'm building it. It's still small, but I don't have any like bills or anything right now because fortunately, personally, this is the best I've ever been in my life. Personally, I'm not drinking. I'm off all the psychotropic drugs. The only thing I do is I take my very low dosage of Adderall and I smoke weed. And that's it. But that's it. And I've never felt better in my life. Now, I've been better professionally in my life. Hold on, let me see. I got to check this. It feels like I'm freezing. Oh, the lighting is so bad. I look fucking horrible here. But back to what I was saying is, I'm making enough right now to support myself, and it's kind of fortunate that I'm out of work. I had a couple of radio jobs lined up at one point right before this whole pandemic started. You should become a trucker and do a show, Trucking with Tuds. Robert, please, hit me up. Email me, Tuddle@gmail.com. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, David Burden, man. You know, it's fucking crazy that I didn't realize how fucking bad I was. I was fucking deep in it when it came to my drinking. It was fucking bad. And here, I'm getting sidetracked here. My ADHD is like fucking acting up big time tonight. But back to my podcast. So I'm fortunate that I'm out of work. I had a couple of jobs lined up that there were with some mom and pop radio stations, doing some on-air shifts part-time, but mainly doing production work behind the scenes. And those jobs were all lined up, ready to go. And then this whole coronavirus shit started and they pushed it back. So I've been doing the podcast. I want to get back on radio. I don't want you guys to think, oh, I'm giving up on radio. Fuck radio. I still love radio. I absolutely love it. But this time off and me doing this podcast has made me appreciate what podcasts do. Podcast, people, is a legitimate platform now. Audio-wise, audio content-wise, I think Joe Rogan is the number 2 guy behind Howard Stern. And Joe's not even on terrestrial radio. He's doing a fucking podcast. He has more like to do with public opinion than sometimes even Howard Stern. I know that sounds crazy. It would be cool if everyone came under the same umbrella under Bubba's Twitch channel, Tuddle Show, Seth Show, Brent Show, etc. Now, I've reached out. I have not heard anything back. Now, if you guys would like to help me out and be polite about this, be very, very polite about this, okay? I've been doing this podcast, and I've been hustling. I've been on every single podcast that I can get on. Even if I pick up 5 to 10 new subscribers from going on a certain podcast, it's all well worth it, and that's what I'm doing. I am hustling. So, back to my original point is that I reached out, and I'm trying to do everything I can to build my brand when it comes to my podcast. Like I said, I'm going to get back on the radio, but I reached out, I emailed, I've not heard back, and I know the guys are busy, but I would be willing to offer, and I would do an exclusive, Bubba once a week, and Bubba won it twice a week. I would do an exclusive show that is different than my podcast. The only thing, and I don't need to be paid anything. I do not need to pay anything. I would do an hour show a couple of days a week for Bubba Radio Network content, but I'm willing to do 2 1-hour shows a week that are exclusive to the Bubba Radio Network. And the only thing I want is to be able to plug my content, my YouTube channel, my PayPal account, and my podcast. That's all I would want. So if you guys want to help me out, email Bubba or tweet at him at Bubba Army and let him know, hey, I'm going to hear the Tuddle show on Bubba Army Radio, because I'd be willing to do it, and I'm going to be cool. Like, I've been cool as fuck this time around. Paid in a bit split. Yes, I agree, Philip Anthony. I would do it for plugs, because that is how committed I am to this podcast out there and do that. So be nice about it. If you want to email him or anything, be nice about it. Tweet at him. I would be willing to do it. And I won't comment on anything in Bubba's world or the show. It'll be just strictly me talking about things in my world and topics and what's going on in current events and the news. That's what I would do. I would not even talk about what he's got going on, because I don't want to offend him. So if he wants it, I'm willing to do it. All I want to do is be able to plug my podcast. Aaron F., listen, me and Bubba are on good terms. We talk, but I mean, I'm doing anything I can to get my brand out there, and I have no problem giving him content. What can it hurt? Bubba's got a big audience. Bubba's got a very big and loyal audience. So why, I'd be an idiot not to try to take advantage of that. I'm trying to work smart. Bubba's still got a name. Nationally, maybe his name is not as big as it used to be in Tampa, but he's still a legend. Bubba is still a legend right now. He's still a legend. More people nationally know about Bubba than what they do the other people in the Tampa market. So that's a fact. That's a fact. So what I'm trying to say is I'm just working smart and trying to get my name out there when it comes to my podcast. So I'm willing to do 2 1-hour exclusive 1-hour shows for Bubba Army Radio. I'll do it. It'll be great. I won't talk about his show or anything going on in his life, because I don't want to overstep my boundaries or offend him or do anything like that. So, you know, let him know. Be nice about it. Don't be a dick, because Bubba gets irritated when people bother him. So I don't want it to be like you constantly Gary Coxing him. Don't Gary Cox him. Don't Gary Cox him. Just mention it to him. Hey, Tuddle on his live stream the other night said he'd be willing to do some exclusive content for Bubba Army Radio, and all he needs is plugs. He wants to plug his podcast. I mean, that's pretty cheap. It's not costing Bubba anything, and he gets content. So, and I'll promote any of his stuff. I'll do that. I gotta get a better angle here. I don't like the way I fucking look. Back when I was drinking, I didn't give a fuck what I looked like. I was a fucking slob. And I got fat. I didn't get over 200 pounds. But now that I've stopped drinking and I'm off all the psychotropic drugs, I've been working out. As you can tell, I have a very, very addictive personality. When I do stuff, I fucking do it to the extreme. Not to the extreme like extreme sports. I'm talking about, I just do it more than what I should. More than what's considered healthy. So I've been eating healthy, a lot of protein, like in the morning. I'll give you what I ate today, okay? So how about 2 2-hour shows? I mean, I could, but I mean, I'm already doing my podcast, and I'd rather do Buzzer Bob. I'd rather do an hour of really, really good content, because it won't be live. I'm not able to go live, so it won't be live. So I'd rather do an hour of really, really great content that's good, instead of doing 2 hours of an hour of it being great and then the other hour being mediocre or shit or garbage. So now if I could do it live, I could do 2 hours live by standing on my head, but I'm on the other side of the state, and my parents, I have other responsibilities. Slow Boy Joe, miss you, buddy. Yeah, dude, I miss all the Bubba Army, man. You know what really, really sucks is, and you know, what really, really sucks, and I don't want you to think I'm one of those guys that is into, you know, I put a lot of weight into social media numbers, but it is important, and I'm not on the radio anymore, so the only way I have to promote my stuff is from my Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, all those means. That's the only way I'm able to promote, and they've been dropping like flies. Bubba Army like follows that I got on Twitter, the people that followed me, even though I've been cool as shit. I was a dick. I was a dick that day that Bubba kicked me out of the studio and sent me home. I was a dick. I'm not making excuses. I made my own bed. I really did. This is really pissing me off. I have to fix this camera angle. Hold on here. See if that works. Just don't. All right, here we go. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I was a dick. It was my own fault. I'm not blaming anybody. I was under a lot of stress. I was under a lot of stress, and I came back, and I was standoffish. I hadn't been drinking, and I fucking lashed out. I lashed out, and I apologize, Bubba. If you watch this, Bubba, I apologize. I'm sorry. I fucked up. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm happy for your success right now. I think the lineup you have is fucking amazing. I think the smartest hire you've made in a very, very long time, besides myself, was Seth Cush. Seth is great. I got a chance to work with Seth. I'd never worked with Seth on the same radio show or same station. I worked at Cox when he was still at 97X, and Seth's a great guy. Fucking brilliant. Brilliant. The program director for The Bone, who was also the program director, he was pulling double duty at 97X, where the Morning X with Drew and Seth, and Michael Sharkey, like, he broke it down for me. He's like, Seth, you're great on the air, Tuddle. You're great on the air, but you could be better producing. And Michael Sharkey, Sharkey, the program director for both The Bone and 97X, said, I want you to watch Seth. Watch how he works. Kind of pick his brain. Because Seth is a great producer. I've worked in a lot of formats, especially FM talk radio, where the producer, he pulls show prep, but he does not like handle the top, you know, where the host goes. And when Seth says stuff, like Seth has gotten way funnier. Like, Seth was funny on 97X. Seth was brilliant on 97X, but I think he took his craft of being an on-air talent to the next level working at The Bone because he got more talk time. When he was at 97X, they played a lot of music, and their talk breaks were condensed down. And I think that's what made Seth a great producer, because he was allotted a short amount of time, and he had to make the most out of that short period of time. And when Seth says something, he doesn't say, when he was on 97X, he didn't say a lot, but when he said something, it was poignant, it delivered to the topic, and it drove the content, drove the conversations in different directions. Seth is almost like a host without being a host. David Burden writes, have you kept in touch with Trace? You two were fun to listen to. Yeah, I talk to Trace every once in a while. I hope Trace isn't mad at me. Like, Trace is one of the most genuine, fun-loving, just a guy that's just having fun at life. Trace has fun at life, and I wish I was at that point. I was at that point in my life. But Trace, I think the worst shit could happen to Trace, and he would still have fun at living life. And I envy people like that. But Manson and Trace asked me a whole bunch of times to come on their show, and I want to do a show. I would like to do it, but I'm just on the other side of the state, don't have a lot of money, haven't been keeping up on the upkeep on the PT Cruiser. I just don't want to take that chance. It's my only mode of transportation, needs new tires, needs an oil change. So I want to go there. I would love to do Manson's show. I just haven't been able to do it. So I hope that they're not mad at me, and I hope that they don't take offense to it, because I want to do it. I think Manson is a fucking talented and brilliant person, and he's becoming a great host. You know, a lot of people think, you know, Manson is brilliant. Manson's brilliant, but he's always been a co-host. He's worked off of people. And it's a different thing, because I've learned that from doing this podcast. I do it by myself. And you have to carry the conversation and drive the topic and give your opinions, as well as throw in funny little jabs every once in a while. So Manson is becoming a great host. I mean, it's been there. Manson can handle it. Manson could fucking fill 10 hours from the seat of his pants without any show prep. But he's becoming a better host because he's setting up Donna and Erin when she's on the show, and Trace. So Manson is becoming a better broadcaster as well too, going out on his own, and he's still doing the parody songs. So Manson is one of the most talented guys that I've seen in radio in a very, very long time that I've ever had the chance to work with. But no, back to Bubba. I think Seth was a brilliant hire. I think Seth was absolutely brilliant. Slow Boy Joe, I love Manson, but I agree, Philip, he's a bit delusional. Listen, I mean, I'm staying out of the drama. You guys can give your opinion on this stuff, and I don't mind. I'm not taking any side. I want to get away from the fucking drama and just work on myself personally, work on my sobriety, work on my fitness, and that's all I care about right now. So you guys are entitled to your opinion. I love both of them. I like both of the guys. Everybody's like, oh, fuck Bubba, he fucked you over. I kind of, there's a lot of things that I didn't agree with, but I agree. Like, Bubba gave me a platform. He gave me a job when none of these other radio gigs would. And Bubba fucking took a chance on me, gave me a platform, and I think the most popular that I had ever been on the radio was because of Bubba. He gave me a chance to shine. Yes, I had to do stunts for Bubba, but for the past year or a year and a half, he never made me do any stunts. Yeah, I got fucked with a lot. He'd fuck with me, but that's a part of the game. Watch Manson State of Manson. He needs a Baker Act. All over the board. Well, listen, Philip. Love you, Philip, but I do as well. I just miss them together. Yeah, I mean, you can't deny. You cannot deny. You lose all credibility as a radio listener if you deny that that wasn't some of the best fucking radio with Manson and Bubba. And I'll even throw in Brent and Spice, even though everybody thinks Spice was a fuckhead. And I worked with Spice for a while. Spice is great. Spice knows how to work. Spice is a great broadcaster. He could be a real asshole sometimes, but personally, I mean, we're on bad terms, but I'm not going to take away or say that Spice isn't a great broadcaster. Spice was fucking great, man. He walked that tightrope, for sure. Spice threw in screwballs. Yeah, I don't know how Spice did it, man. I got to give fucking Spice credit on that, man, because, working with Bubba and being able to give it back to Bubba is very stressful because Spice could say whatever the fuck he wanted to. I don't know. I've never asked Bubba and said, hey, did you and Spice have a personal agreement that he could say whatever the fuck he wanted to say on the air and you would not get mad at him? Yeah, you'd play it up like you're mad, but, you guys were cool behind the scenes. Because Spice, man, he was fucking like an assassin, taking fucking headshots like it was fucking like right to the fucking melon, kill shot after kill shot. Get away with a lot. And I was able to get on my digs, but there was only a limit. There was a limit with me. So you had to walk that tightrope with Bubba when it came to that. But I couldn't push the envelope like Spice did. I don't know if Spice had some type of fucking agreement or something, but I know I could not. I would have been fired fucking... I would have never came back if I would have acted or said some of the shit that Spice... Seth is a great addition. I love Blitz. Blitz is fucking great. Blitz is not the guy that needs a lot of mic time. He's fucking brilliant on like 5 to 10 second stab-ins, and he's fucking comedy gold. And he was ready. K-Man was well prepared to be the producer for Bubba because he practically was running everything behind the scenes for the longest time. And now K-Man has like grown into the producer that Bubba needs. And I think Bubba appreciates that. Now, love Blitz with his perfectly placed sarcasm. Yeah, Blitz is fucking naturally funny, man. It's crazy. I wish I could do the technical things that Blitz could do and still throw in those like one-liners and stab-ins. Now, I know I'm going to get a little heat with this, but I wouldn't be myself if I wasn't giving my honest opinion, okay? Bubba is working with the crew that he has. He only needs himself. Bubba can do the show. Bubba does not need a fucking person to do the show. To be honest, Bubba can fucking talk and be funny and give it. Bubba can be funny. He can give you his serious opinion. Bubba can give you his polarizing opinion. He can do any type of radio. Bubba can fucking spin music and be a DJ. You were their internet guy. Fake it until you make it. Yeah. I was their internet guy. That is how. Listen, everybody thinks I'm joking and that's a fucking bit. That's the only way I got on Bubba's show, man. I had gotten fired. I'll go into depth and detail of this. So I had just gotten fired from being at Real Radio for 10 years with the Monsters in the Morning. Just got married 3 or 4 years ago and had just bought a house a couple of months ago, and I got shit canned. Got shit canned from Real Radio. I sent out a lot of resumes before Bubba, and I was just listening to a lot of radio while I was sending out resume, and I heard Bubba needed a web guy, and I was desperate. I was fucking desperate, and I knew this could be a risky chance. It could be a risky chance. So I applied. I called Brent. I had Brent's number, and I got Brent's number from Drew Garabo because Drew was doing guest appearances talking about the Orlando Magic. So I got Brent's number from Drew Garabo, and I texted Brent, and I said, hey, Brent, this is Tuddle. You probably don't know me, but I think we met briefly when you guys came over to Clear Channel Orlando. Can I email you? I don't want to bother you. I know you're busy. What's your email? What's up, McDave1407? Thanks for joining me. If you guys get a chance, I said this earlier, share this on your social media. Let people know that I'm live right now. It'd be nice to get a big crew in here. It's always nice to catch it live. But if you don't catch it live, this will be uploaded on my YouTube channel. But I had emailed Brent, so I got Brent's email, and I said, hey, I know that you guys are looking for a web guy. They just fired their web guy, and this was my end. I could work my way about doing internet stuff, but I had never done anything to the level of what Bubba needed. So I went in for the interview, and I talked to Hamill. God rest his soul. We miss you, Hamill. You just committed suicide, which fucking sucks. But Hamill was fucking great. And then Bruno, and I had the meeting with them, and I was able to bullshit my way through that meeting. And they hired me. They asked me straight up, have you ever done internet? Have you ever done websites? And technically I didn't lie, because at the time I was doing a lot of work on my MySpace page and Facebook page, and I think I'd just gotten on Twitter, so I'd been doing that. So technically I'd done web pages. And so the first day, man, I got there. Oh, no, let me backtrack. So with the interview I did, I kind of found out, and made it seem like I knew what I was talking about. I was like, oh, what kind of software are you guys doing to update your website? And I found that out because I wanted to know what they were using. So I went in for the interview that Thursday. So I had Friday, Saturday, and Sunday until I had to be into work on the first day on a Monday. And I researched everything that they were using for their website. And I learned the basics. I got in there, and I was doing great the first couple of days, and then they needed me to update banners. And just simple things, I could Google it. If you're nowadays, with all the technology and the internet, if you say you don't know how to do something, you're an idiot. You can learn how to do anything by Googling it, and that's what I did. Slow Boy Joe writes, Tuddle Radio is dead. Podcast or Twitch is where it's at. You should work something like Tom and Dan, record podcasts on Twitch. Bro, myself and a lot of people consider you radio royalty in Orlando. Thank you, Slow Boy Joe. Hit me up on email, man. I'd like to hook up with you and thank you personally. Yeah, Tom and Dan. I was on Tom and Dan's show last week. But back to what I was saying. So the first day, so the simplest things that they would give me, it would take me hours to do, but I would eventually get it done, because when they would give me a task, I would have to Google it or research just to bullshit my way through it. And I was doing pretty well. I was fucking walking the tightrope for a good week. And then the following week, I made it through half of the week, and it was a holiday weekend, and they had me update some stuff. And I guess I fucked up some code or something. And I took his BTLS down, Bubba Raw down, and his merchandise website. And I was already back in Orlando, and my God, they were fucking hot. Bubba didn't know me well enough, so he really wasn't gonna call me, but Bruno Russ was fucking calling him motherfucking me. And, Bubba was understandable. They got it fixed. And I came in, and I only had a week left because I didn't know I had a week left. That wasn't a bit. What do you mean? That wasn't a bit. No, it wasn't a bit. So I didn't know I only had a week left, but I only had a week left. And Bubba pulled me into the studio to talk about how I fucked up because, Bubba brings all the drama on the air. And as soon as I heard that, a lot of people would be fucking devastated. They would be nervous that Bubba was calling them into the studio to bitch them out, but not me. Not me. You want to know what? I was actually excited because this was the opportunity that I was looking for. This was the opportunity that I was waiting for. I wanted that. My plan was to get my foot in the door and get that one chance to get in the studio and get on a mic. And they brought me in. And I fucking tuddled it up. I tuddled it up. I fucking took a shot of fucking straight up Tuddle steroids and fucking nerded it up. Had my vuvuzela. Yeah, it wasn't. I'm reading this. This fucking chat's got to be behind. I was fucking throwing. I was spitting fire at everybody. I was fucking going for fucking kill shots when Bubba was asking me about other people that worked at the Bubba Radio Network. I didn't even know anybody. Not a lot of people like me. What's Robert Williams? What did you ever think of that podcast that never happened with Calta, Manson, and Spice? Robert, as soon as I get done with this story, I'll answer that, okay? So, I've lost my train of thought. All right, so I wanted to get called in the studio. So, like, for example, I was new. Not a lot of people liked me. I didn't meet a lot of people. And Moonshine Miller, who was recently making a lot of money off of Bubba Raw, so it was very, very important at the time to update video. So Moonshine Miller, this was back in 2010 during the South Africa World Cup, and it was the first day, match day 1, and all the matches were on in the morning, and I was there. And they weren't doing any work. They were fucking watching America play fucking, who the fuck were they? Algeria. They were playing Algeria. That might have not have been match day 1. I think that was match day 3. And I was like, your video guy, Moonshine Miller, hasn't done any work. He's been watching World Cup soccer the whole time. And then Bubba was like, Bubba in true genius fashion. No, I'm not back with Bubba. Nope, not back with Bubba. In true Bubba fashion with the gears working, he was like, fuck, he's calling everybody out. I got to bring everybody, every employee of the BRN, and we got to interview them and find out what Tuddle thinks about all of them. And I did. I gave my honest opinion, and it could have gotten me into a lot of trouble. It was a gamble, but it paid off. And Bubba, yes, they still fired me, but Bubba still kept me around to do random bits. But I think the one thing that impressed Bubba initially, even after he fired me, and this, I'm not proud of this. I never cheated on my wife. I never physically hurt her, but I would withhold information. I never lied. So I ended up getting fired from Bubba's show. She couldn't listen, and I didn't tell her. I was let go, and I was under a lot of stress at the time because, like I had said, we'd been married for a couple of years, had just gotten a house, and I was trying to keep it going. Yeah, he's been back for a week. Shows fire. Thank you, Philip. That's funny. So I didn't tell her. So I was driving to fucking Tampa every day because I was desperate. So, like, I would listen to the show, and I would only be a mile away. I was only a mile away. Yeah, withhold information, which is technically lying, but it's not straight up lying. I just withheld information. So I would drive to Tampa every day and be in close proximity. I'm good right now. I'm happy with everything going on. My family, my parents need me, so I'm happy helping them out, and I'm happy doing the podcast. You can check out my podcast, A&T Auto and Diesel. Search The Tuddle Podcast. It's available on iTunes Podcast, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, as well as the TuneIn Radio app. But back to what I was saying. Fuck. Oh, yeah. So I was driving over there and I would listen to the show, and if Bubba was like, man, we could use help on this or do that, or hey, this is an idea, I'd call in, or I had Spice on Instant Messenger and I would message Spice, and then it became a running bit that Spice was like, yep, yeah, Tuddle, the guy we fired last week, he's at the Starbucks waiting for you just in case you call, which, you know, that sounds really stalkerish, but I think it showed him that I was committed and was a hard worker. And he brought me back on and started using me for what I've been doing for the last 12 years at the moment, and was using me behind the scenes. I can do production work, I can show prep, schedule guests, I can do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. But I'm great on the air, doing man on the street stuff, doing stunt stuff. I'm just good at that. Thank you, Antiato. So let me answer that question. Let me go back here. Robert Williams wanted me to answer, what did you think of the podcast that never happened with Calta, Manson, and Spice? All right, so I'll start off with my answer by saying I have no inside information, and I'm only going by from what I know and the personalities of the people, because I've worked with all of them. I've worked with Bubba, I've worked with Manson, I've worked with Spice, I've worked with Calta, and I've worked with Big Dick. For briefly with Big Dick. Big Dick didn't like me. And my honest opinion, to be honest, I don't think they were ever going to do a podcast. I really don't. I really, in my honest opinion, I don't think that they were ever going to do a podcast. I think they hate Bubba so much, and they want to fuck with him any way that they can, and they wanted the Bubba to sweat. They wanted Bubba to sweat. And they know that Bubba tends to get fucking on the chip with the shit that's said on social media. Bubba's gotten better at it, but he tends to fucking blow a gasket for things that go on with social media. So I think they were just fucking with Bubba. The reason why I don't think, and I'm going to back it up with just logic, they had just settled the lawsuit. And I don't know the behind the scenes. I don't know what the settlement was about. Calta could be telling the truth. Maybe Calta is going scot-free. But I don't think that. I don't think after you settle a lawsuit, and I don't know if Calta settled with Hogan and them or not. I really don't. I don't know what happened, because I've been so far removed from the whole Tampa radio scene, and I don't talk to a lot of the people at the Bubba Army or Bubba Radio Network or at the Bone. So I really don't know. I'm just going off of my opinion and my guess. So I just don't think it was. And the other thing that I want to back it up on, they were supposed to, and I probably got the times wrong, but it did make sense. I think they could have been doing the podcast with Manson, Calta, Spice, and Big Dick at 6. It could have been 6 or 7. But Calta was doing the Robert Kelly podcast at 7 o'clock that night. So I just find it kind of odd that it was just a bit. He had no intentions of doing the podcast. They just did that to fuck with Bubba and make Bubba sweat, knowing that it would kind of get under his skin a little bit. Now, but you know what makes me think that it wasn't a bit? Because I don't think Manson would do that. I don't think Manson would fucking go along with the bit, because Manson is a pretty honest and real guy and doesn't want to be called out for doing some, nut hut Zewish type, stunt to get attention. So I could be wrong. I'm conflicted on the whole thing. I'm just giving you what it could be. And I don't think the podcast was ever going to happen. I think it was just a ploy to get under Bubba's skin. That's just my opinion. I don't know if it's true. I don't have any inside information. So don't take what I'm saying for fact. Manson really flipped on Bubba. I'm not commenting on that. I mean, I can see both sides of the story. I'm friends with both of them. So I can see why they're both mad. They worked together for so long, they never thought it was going to end. I heard 102.5 The Bone call it off. It makes you look like a renegade. That's like Radio 101. You say, as a radio host, most shock jocks, I'm letting you in on a little bit, they'll say they're going to do something like, maybe, I'll give you a prime example in a little bit, and I don't remember the radio guy, but, for example, the radio host, who's a jock playing music, says, Hey, what's up, everybody? I got this new track that has not even made it to the airwaves yet, and I'm going to be the first one to play it for you. And you know what? I'll probably get in trouble for it. I've not even told my program director I'm going to do this. I'm doing it on my own because I'm a renegade. And you know what? They had no intentions of playing that record. They most likely didn't even have said track to play. It's probably made up in the first place. But they'll eventually come out and say, well, I can't play this. Upper management, people at corporate told me I can't play it. But I'm a renegade, and I was going to play it, but I can't because the man's keeping me down. That's just Radio 101. That happens a lot. So when you hear a guy saying that he's bucking the system when it comes to management, those days are long gone. Hold on. I still think you were good for Bubba's show. The current lineup is working good, but little Tuddle makes it would be great. I'd be open for it. I'd love to work with Seth. It'd be a dream of mine to be on the same show and mix it up with Seth. I think it would be great radio. I think it'd be fucking brilliant. But yeah, that's Radio 101. But yeah, the radio guys aren't bucking the system. They're doing exactly what fucking management tells them to do because radio jobs are fucking hard to come by right now, especially with this pandemic. So, all right, I feel like I'm rambling, guys. I'm going to get off this thing. I just want to thank Dr. Dan. No, I'm glad you brought that up, Robert, because I meant to make that point. Okay, listen. I'm going to preface this by saying, I like Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan is an amazing professional, well put together man that I've ever met in my life. The guy has busted his ass to get everything that he has right now. He busted his ass to become a plastic surgeon and a doctor. He busted his ass while he was already a successful doctor. Most people would fucking give up after that because they'd be like, I'm a doctor. What else do I need? I have enough. No. Dr. Dan fucking went out and became a lawyer. So, what I'm saying is, nothing against Dr. Dan. Nothing against Dr. Dan personally. But, he's good. He's decent on the radio. He is decent on the radio. He does well for not being a professional broadcaster. He does well. But, yeah, now he's a fish website owner. He's a philanthropist. That's why Dr. Dan is a fucking millionaire and I'm a fucking pooro. I mean, I'm not on fucking welfare or government assistance. I'm a fucking grifter. I survive. But Dr. Dan, I just feel like Bubba's core audience, Tuddle for real, let's hang, go riding quads and DPE. Oh, I'm always there. Slow boy, Joe, email me, Tuddle, TUDDLE @gmail.com. But back to Dr. Dan, what I was saying is Bubba's core audience, the blue collar, get her done, not going to take shit, MAGA, red wearing hat people cannot relate with a rich doctor / lawyer that is perfect. He's fucking chiseled. He's a man's man. But I think what turns people off is when he begs, and I know it's a bid and it's a gimmick, with the gold mic. I get that. It's a mic, but would have fucking clowned them. Bubba would call out other radio people for fucking getting a golden microphone. It's just plain and simple. But, Dr. Dan is good for what he does. He's a great person all around. He's not a bad person. I have no bad things to say about him. I just think that Bubba's audience cannot relate with Dr. Dan bragging about what he has and what you guys don't. And like I said, Dr. Dan has earned every bit of it. He deserves it. He deserves every fucking red cent that he has. Now, Babyface is good. Not a radio professional, but Babyface is great. I think Babyface makes me laugh a couple of times a show. So he's great. He's good at what he does, and he has that opposing view politically as well against Bubba, and he tries to give Bubba a hard time. Yeah, he does push it a little too far sometimes. But Bubba's doing fine. Bubba doesn't need me. Bubba's a fighter. He always bets on himself, and he always comes out on top. Yeah, for a while there it was touch and go, and it wasn't looking good for him. But I think he's on a comeback. I think it's a brilliant move to give your show away for free. Fuck. Give your show away for free. They put you on. You start getting ratings. Then maybe come back and negotiate. It's a brilliant fucking marketing scheme to give your show away for free. It's great. Dr. Dan is a true friend. Yes, I agree. Dr. Dan is a true friend. Dr. Dan would help Bubba bury a body if Bubba asked him to. I agree. Lasker, not so much. Walked out when Bubba really needed him. I relate with Dr. Dan. I think he's down to earth, millionaire. I like the guy. Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Dude, keep going the direction with your topic. You'll kick it off. You're saying what everyone's thinking. Listen, I'm not bashing the show. Bubba's got a good thing going on, and he needs to stick with it. Stick with what you got right now, because it's a winning formula. And Dr. Dan and Babyface will get better as time goes on. I just think right now he could do the show. And I would love to hear what the show sounds like. And Lummy, I forget about Lummy. Lummy's good, but I think Lummy needs to fucking loosen up a little bit. Lummy is just so fucking, he's like an abused woman. He's afraid he's gonna say something stupid and catch the wrath of Bubba. And I think if Lummy opened it up and fucking fucking put the pedal down straight Talladega matted, he would be brilliant. I just think he's kind of scared. What's up? Welcome, Chris Coleman. What's up, T-Bone? But yeah, it's a great lineup. I just would like to hear the show with Bubba, Seth, Lummy, and Blitz. I just like to hear that mixture, and maybe I've missed it. Maybe they've done it. Maybe he did it. I don't know. And listen, like I said, nothing against Dr. Dan. Dr. Dan he's always been nothing but nice to me and fucking great. So, like I said, I have nothing against Dr. Dan. I'm just taking this as somebody that has 20 years of radio experience. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Dr. Dan will get better. And Dr. Dan, he doesn't have to fucking do this shit. He's doing it for his friend, his best friend, Bubba. And that's great. Yeah, the Daily Show is going well. Podcast was great today. Check it out. The Tuddle Podcast, available at tuddle.podomatic.com, or search The Tuddle Podcast on iHeartRadio, Spotify. What else am I on? Spotify, iTunes Podcast, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn Radio. All right, guys, I got to get off this. I'm losing my voice now, too, and I'm losing my fucking weed high. So, guys, I really appreciate everything. I love and miss you guys. You guys that support me, I really, really appreciate it. I really, really do. And if you guys could do me a favor, even if you don't, I know times are tough, and all my content's free, but if you'd like to donate financially, paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio. That's paypal.me/Tuddle on the radio. That money's going to be reinvested in making my content better. I want to get Wi-Fi here so my streams will be better. Yeah, Clock Watcher, that's funny, Philip. Oh, Chris, that's Chris. You're from Funny to Informant. I just fucking realized that. Yeah, definitely call me, man. I reached out to you this week. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, if you can't donate to my PayPal account, help spread the word. Just one mention on your Twitter, your Facebook, Instagram, anywhere. Help me spread the word. Tell your friends, your family. If you tell, I'm not trying to compare my podcast to this virus going on, because a lot of people call me out for being insensitive, but I want the word of mouth to be like this pandemic. I want it to spread like Corona. One person tells two people, or one person tells one person. That's two. That two turns into four. That four turns into eight. Eight turns into 16, and so on and so on and so on. I want that to happen. So if you can help me out, if you don't want to help me out by donating, just help spread the word. Just tell one person. It'll help. I would greatly appreciate that. Tell people to check out my podcast. The Tuddle Podcast is found on Tuddle.Podomatic, iHeartRadio. It's Tuddle.Podomatic.com, iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes Podcast, and the TuneIn Radio app. Guys, whatever you can do, I've told several people about you on different shows. Thank you, T-Bone. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I got to get off this thing. I got to go check on my dad. He's had a few drinks, and sometimes he doesn't walk too well already, even when he's sober. It's weird. My dad was career balance. He's lost his balance, and he needs help, which is great. It was great. All right, guys, help me out. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I miss you guys. I'll talk to you sometime soon.